On behalf of the leaders and soldiers of the 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, thank you for joining us in commemorating their triumphant return home from deployment in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. Ladies and gentlemen, at long last, please welcome home the Jersey Blues.
Today we gather to honor your service and your sacrifice. Soldiers of the 44th, you answered the call. You shouldered the responsibility, and you carried out your mission in support of Operation Inherent Resolve with courage, discipline, and professionalism. From base defense and command operations across the Middle East to sustainment support and humanitarian assistance. Your actions reflect the highest ideals of our state and nation. It goes without saying, but I must say it clearly, to everyone within the sound of my voice, never forget what the 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team stood for and fought for. You defended the values that defines us as Americans, commitment to one another and dedication to something greater than ourselves. Simply put, you are the best of what this nation has to offer. The sacrifices you made in defense of our country are not lost on us. Time away from loved ones, missed birthdays, and life's milestones. To our family members and friends here today, and to those who couldn't be here but supported you from home, let's take a moment and give you a huge round of applause. You have been and you are the foundation that kept these soldiers standing tall. When service members deploy, families stay home, but in a very real sense, you serve too. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be clear. This was no ordinary deployment. The 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team was the only brigade, all compos, deployed in a combat environment anywhere. The difference you made in a volatile region cannot be overstated. It was one of my greatest honors to welcome you home on the tarmac at Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst. And some of you got hugs. You might have been trying to get around them, but you couldn't get away. And it's a privilege today to welcome you to the veterans community of our Garden State. To be a veteran is to carry a legacy of honor and of duty fulfilled. As you continue to reintegrate into your communities and adjust to life post-deployment, know this: there is literally an army of people ready to support you. The full force of the New Jersey Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, along with our state and federal partners, stand committed to your success and whatever comes next for you. You have earned our full support and our unwavering commitment. A grateful state and a grateful nation, thank you for your service and for your family sacrifice. May God bless each of you, your families, the great state of New Jersey, and this United States of America. Thank you. It is now my distinct honor to introduce our next speaker. There's an old saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. This gentleman, he stands. He stands for what is right and just. He stands for those of us who wear the uniform, and he stands for every New Jerseyan. Senator Cory Booker has been a tireless advocate, fighting for increased pay for service members, improved access to housing, health care, and the benefits you've earned. And just a few short days ago, he took standing to a whole new level. Senator Booker commanded the Senate floor for more than 25 hours. Driven by his belief in what is right and true, please join me in a proud New Jersey National Guard welcome for our Senator, the Honorable Cory Booker.
Thank you. I want to start off by acknowledging my friend Governor Murphy, the extraordinary, incredible Brigadier General Yvonne Mays, of course, Colonel Brian Stramaglia, Command Sergeant Major Kevin Kirkpatrick, members of the New Jersey State Legislature, members of this incredible governor's cabinet, but most importantly, members of the 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, the Jersey Blues, and their family members here today. I say to you all, welcome home and congratulations on a successful deployment. I was so deeply honored to address you before your departure, but it is even more exciting and more humbling to do so upon your successful return. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your service. By volunteering as citizen soldiers, you've done what so few others are willing to do in our nation. Your commitment to country, your deep dedication, your living patriotism, you represent the best of who we are. I'm often reminded what I was taught as a young man and a boy, that we all drink deeply from wells of freedom and liberty that we did not dig, that we owe a debt as Americans that none of us can pay back, so we must pay it forward. What you all have done through your extraordinary service is you all are paying it forward. You all are planting seeds for a harvest in the future of our democracy that should give you such pride. In answering your call to deploy to Iraq and Syria, you fulfilled a critical national security mission, not just for our country, but for the world. You advanced opportunity, freedom, liberty in a region that has seen too much disorder and violence. You built partner capacity to help ensure the continued defeat of ISIS and other terrorists. You ensured freedom of maneuver for coalition forces operating in eastern Syria and operated multiple bases in Syria and Iraq. Very importantly, you provided humanitarian relief to some of the world's most vulnerable populations, showing the mercy, grace, and love of the American people. And you did so in dangerous, dynamic, and uncertain conditions, in an environment that posed a continuing threat to your very lives and well-being. Yet you maintained this strength amidst drone and rocket attacks, amidst adversity. You showed your strength at your core and demonstrated in action your love of country. The success that you all have attained is a testament to yourselves, your commanders, your leadership, your officers, your warrant officers, your non-commissioned officers, and their confidence and faith in you and their determination to ensure that you were properly led, trained, and equipped. Your success is a towering testimony to your commitment, your dedication, your love of country, your mission, and your commitment to one another. I know the demands that we place on National Guard soldiers and their families. We ask so much of you as you put your lives and careers on hold while serving our country on deployment. You epitomize to me the strongest and most just military force the world has ever seen. This was not an easy deployment, and I know that it's taken its toll on you all in different ways. And so my prayers are with you as you continue to reintegrate with your families and your communities. I also give you my pledge that I will do everything within my power to ensure you receive the care as veterans that you all have earned. This nation must now stand with you, stand for you, and stand up for you as you continue your lives of service. And if you ever are in crisis and need help, please do not hesitate to reach out for help, whether it's to a fellow soldier, a fellow veteran, your leadership, or to me and my staff. We stand ready to support you. We are here for you. I cannot overstate my awesome appreciation for you and your families and the sacrifice you have made. You all have missed the first steps of family members, missed birthdays, missed anniversaries. I recognize the difficulties this has placed upon you and your families and how important it is for our soldiers to have families that support them. I'd like to pause one more time and ask us all to give a round of applause for our family members that are here, of these extraordinary men and women. And so let me say to you in conclusion that I have long believed that in matters of faith, the theologians of past have it right. There's one theologian that's reported to have said that everywhere I go, I preach the gospel, but only sometimes do I use words. It says in the Bible that faith without works is dead. Well, I believe in our civic gospel. I believe that the ideas, the sacred principles upon which this country stands for, are often epitomized in the symbols of our democracies, our flag, our salute, our pledge. But the greatest patriotism on our nation is not seen, not heard, but is exhibited often by people who take the very ideals of this country and live them in dangerous places where the light of liberty is not fully shining. I want you all to know that you exhibit to me the best of our civic faith, our civic gospel. The words of God Bless America, you all know them. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. You all are the light workers. You all have lived, worked, sacrificed, and struggled to bring light into dark places. And now I tell you, like that Bible verse has said, you've had a hard, long night. And as weeping may have endured through the night, now that you are home, joy cometh. Joy cometh in the morning. Thank you all for your commitment and your sacrifice and bringing pride and honor and truth to what we stand for. Today is a joyous day indeed. Welcome home. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Booker.
Thank you, Senator. We certainly appreciate your ongoing support of every New Jerseyan, but certainly those of us who wear this uniform. So, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker indeed needs no introduction in this crowd. From day one, Governor Murphy and First Lady Tammy Murphy have been unwavering in their support. And as his tenure comes to a close, the governor has made it clear to me and his entire cabinet that we will run through the tape, sir. I'm reminded of the day you visited our Joint Operations Center in Lawrenceville weeks before the brigade deployed. You sat down with Colonel Stramalia and Major General Howe, and you received a secure briefing on the mission. You asked thoughtful and serious questions about what most concerned us. You knew the environment was volatile, I think even more than we did at the moment. You wanted our soldiers prepared, you cared, and throughout this deployment, before, during, and after, Governor Murphy and First Lady Tammy Murphy have asked the same essential questions. Are we doing enough? How can we help? And sir, that is true leadership. It's true commitment that we appreciate, and it's a love for New Jersey's heroes and those who love them. So sir, it's for those reasons that I am proud to announce that the 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team is all present and accounted for today. Absolutely, absolutely. So ladies and gentlemen, soldiers and airmen, give a warm round of applause for our Commander-in-Chief, the 56th Governor of this great state, the Honorable Philip D. Murphy.
Good morning, and it is a true honor to join you all today on this joyous and celebratory day here at Jersey Mike's Arena, home of the Scarlet Knights. I want to thank Rutgers President Jonathan Holloway for so graciously hosting us this morning. Yeah. To the Adjutant General of the New Jersey National Guard and the Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Military and Veteran Affairs, Brigadier General Yvonne Mays, thank you for that very kind introduction and for your decades of courageous service. I also want to thank all of the general officers, commanders, and command sergeants major of our returning units, in particular Colonel Brian Stramaglia and Command Sergeant Major Kevin Kirkpatrick, and more on them in a few moments. My thanks as well to all of our distinguished guests serving at various levels of our federal and state and local government. Senator, my dear friend and great leader, Cory Booker, another great leader, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, members of our cabinet, elected officials up and down the level of the state, led by our host, Mayor Brian Waller, members of the Senate and General Assembly, again, county and local leaders, far too many to thank individually, but to each and every one of you, thank you for being with us. But most importantly, on behalf of our 9.5 million strong New Jersey family, it is my distinct honor to say welcome home to the roughly 1,500 members of the 44th Infantry Brigade combat team. To each and every one of you brigade soldiers, God bless you and thank you for your service. And thank you, of course, to all of your family members and friends and loved ones who are also with us here today. I know that over the past 15 months, every single one of you, along, I might add, with every member of our extended New Jersey family, have been hoping and praying for your safe return to the Garden State. And I could not be more grateful that each one of you, with the 44th IBCT, has made it home safely and in one piece. Over the course of your deployment, which was, by the way, the New Jersey National Guard's largest deployment in over 15 years and one of its largest ever, you served our state and our nation with honor and distinction. In supporting Operation Inherent Resolve, you led our allies in combating the threat of ISIS, from providing base command to offering sustainment support in locations throughout Iraq and Syria. You maintained the freedom of movement for our coalition partners, and in the process you helped ensure the enduring defeat of the terrorists who have wreaked havoc across the Middle East. And through the 44th IBCT's Cavalry Squadron, you also supported the delivery of humanitarian assistance to the Rukban refugee camp, which houses thousands of displaced civilians from Syria. With each one of these acts of courage, as well as compassion for those who have been caught in the crosshairs of conflict, you have shown the world that as members of the New Jersey National Guard, you are the best of us. You have carried on a legacy of service that stretches all the way back to the 1st New Jersey Regiment of the Continental Army, when your predecessors led the fight for freedom here at home to secure our nation's independence. And in leading the fight for freedom today, on the other side of the globe, you have distinguished yourselves as champions for stability and security in a world that feels increasingly unstable and uncertain. The bottom line is that you have put your lives on the line to serve all of us, along with our nation's allies. And now it is our turn as elected leaders and fellow citizens to serve you. And as you navigate life back home, we must ensure that you have access to every resource you could possibly need to succeed and to thrive. That's precisely why last year, in the midst of your deployment, our state reached a major milestone in caring for our veterans. As of last spring, we have officially opened a Veterans Service office in every single one of our 21 counties. So no matter which corner of our state you hail from, whether you represent North Jersey, Central Jersey, or South Jersey, the doors of our Veterans Services office are open to each and every one of you. After all, the very least we can do to honor your service and sacrifice is to help you access the health care, educational resources, and employment opportunities you have earned. And we are here to support you as you begin your journey in civilian life any way we can. Now, before we turn the podium back over to Major Aaron Tomasini, thank you for your service. I want to bring us back to last January when I had the honor of attending the 44th IBCT's farewell ceremony. During that ceremony, I quoted the words that then General George Washington shared with his troops in December of 1776, just days before he led the Continental Army to victory in the Battle of Princeton. Well, this morning, as we welcome you back home to the Garden State, I think it is only fitting to share another pearl of wisdom that General and then President Washington dispensed, this time as president during his first address to Congress. It was January of 1790, a moment when America was still in its infancy and our nation's leaders were contending with big questions about how government should function and how to spend public dollars. And one of the single highest priorities for our young nation, according to President Washington, was, and I quote the president, that of providing for the common defense. Because in his words again, to be prepared for war is one of the most effectual means of preserving peace. I share those words because today, centuries later, all of us in New Jersey and the United States more broadly are blessed by peace and prosperity. But as President Washington acknowledged back in his day, our peace and prosperity has never been inevitable. Instead, it has been preserved by heroes like each and every one of you who have done your part to provide for the common defense and to ensure that America's military is not just prepared, but is widely known as the most formidable force in the history of man. Heroes like you who have supported our allies on the other side of the globe in fighting for peace and prosperity in their own homes. And heroes like you who remind us that our nation's greatness is embodied by ordinary citizens who step up every day to serve our neighbors in the most extraordinary ways. So once again, let me say thank you for being the best of us, and welcome home. And always remember one last thing. We're from Jersey, baby.
Thank you, Governor Murphy. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Philip D. Murphy awards the New Jersey Distinguished Service Medal and the New Jersey Global War on Terrorism Medal to soldiers of the 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team in recognition of their honorable and dedicated service in the Central Command Area of Operations. The citizens of New Jersey are forever grateful. Signed, Brigadier General Yvonne L. Mays. At this time, Colonel Stramalia and Command Sergeant Major Kirkpatrick return the state and national colors to Governor Murphy and Brigadier General Mays. The colors were carried to Task Force Guardian, headquartered at Erbil Air Base, EAB, Iraq. On behalf of the 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, headquarters and staff, Colonel Stramalia and Command Sergeant Major Kirkpatrick will accept the State Distinguished Service Medal and State Global War on Terrorism Medal. Lieutenant Colonel Sorrentino and Sergeant Major Lumley will return the state and national colors to Senator Booker and Brigadier General LaPointe. The colors were carried to Task Force Wolverine, headquartered in Syria. On behalf of the 1st Battalion, 114th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Sorrentino and Sergeant Major Lumley will accept the State Distinguished Service Medal and State Global War on Terrorism Medal. Lieutenant Colonel Eckenrode and Command Sergeant Major Rosario will return the state and national colors to Congresswoman LaMonica McIver and Brigadier General Roscoe. The colors were carried to Task Force Red Leg, headquartered at Al-Assad Air Base, AAAB, Iraq. On behalf of the 3rd Battalion, 112th Field Artillery Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Eckenrode and Command Sergeant Major Rosario will accept the State Distinguished Service Medal and State Global War on Terrorism Medal. Lieutenant Colonel Hardy and Command Sergeant Major Greenberg will return the state and national colors to State Senator Owen Henry and State Command Chief Tosas. The colors were carried to Task Force Armadillo, headquartered in Syria. On behalf of the 1st Squadron, 102nd Cavalry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Hardy and Command Sergeant Major Greenberg will accept the State Distinguished Service Medal and State Global War on Terrorism Medal. Lieutenant Colonel Brattel and Command Sergeant Major Gaines will return the state and national colors to Mayor Brian Waller and Command Sergeant Major Leonard. The colors were carried to Task Force Nyala, headquartered at Erbil Air Base, EAB, Iraq. On behalf of the 250th Brigade Support Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Brattel and Command Sergeant Major Gaines will accept the State Distinguished Service Medal and State Global War on Terrorism Medal. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our commander of the 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, Colonel Brian J. Stramalia.
Governor Murphy, Senator Booker, General Mays, thank you very much for the kind words and all your support. I don't know if you realize what a tough act you are to follow, but I do just want to quickly express my gratitude, my pride, and provide a little bit of context. To my Jersey Blues, I'll be forever grateful that you were so willing to do your duty last year. Not everyone is, not everyone does, but you did, leaving behind families, friends, careers, and school for 11 months in exchange for tough conditions at small Spartan outposts on the Iraqi and Syrian frontiers. To our families, I'm grateful for your love and support. I know it's not easy having your loved one in harm's way, especially when you hear about an attack on American base from the news. I know the months leading up to the deployment were stressful. I know the readjustment to having us back home isn't always smooth sailing as roles and responsibilities and routines have changed. But thank you for enduring, for understanding, and for being there. Most importantly, I'm grateful we all came home safely. I am so unbelievably proud of all of you, of how the brigade performed as Task Force Guardian. I know your families are too, but I think that's largely in an abstract and unconditional way, so I do just want to provide everyone a little bit of context so they can understand the scope and scale of what we did and how it affected tens of thousands of people. We were one small part of a combined joint task force, Operation Inherent Resolve, and in its success in its two missions, the enduring defeat of the Islamic State and the advise, assist, and enable of partner forces. 1st Squadron of the 102nd Cavalry secured Al-Tanf garrison and the surrounding areas from the Assad regime's army. They continued the training of the Syrian Free Army, which liberated the city of Palmyra about a week after we left, and helped avert a humanitarian disaster for 8,000 refugees at the Rukban Displaced Persons Camp. 1st Battalion of the 114th Infantry with a company from 2nd of the 113th Infantry, maintained the coalition's freedom of movement in eastern Syria, worked with the Syrian Democratic Forces, and supported the return of refugees and displaced persons to their homes. Another company from 2nd of the 113th helped our Massachusetts battalion secure the American Embassy and the coalition headquarters in Baghdad. 3rd of the 112th Field Artillery commanded a coalition airbase in western Iraq's Anbar Desert, trained Iraqi field artillery units, and provided counter-rocket fire in response to attacks on our bases in eastern Syria. The 250th Brigade Support Battalion and our Massachusetts Battalion made sure every single thing those Syrian bases needed, food, water, ammo, fuel, mail, literally everything, made it to them via regular 6-day, 1,000-mile road trips. There was constant engineer work at our bases by the 104th Brigade Engineer Battalion and the Theater Engineer Brigade, route clearance operations, repairing electrical infrastructure, building new bunkers, runways, guard towers, and more. Our intelligence analysts had their work briefed to the President of the United States. All of our soldiers spent plenty of time in bunkers as we were attacked several dozen times by rockets and drones. And it was our soldiers who were responsible for the counter-drone and counter-rocket fights at all our bases, responsible for protecting thousands of coalition soldiers. The 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, as Task Force Guardian, could not, would not have been so successful without you, the men and women in the arena. The men and women in the only brigade combat team in the Army to earn combat patches in those 8 months, and who in the process earned over 350 Bronze Star medals, 650 combat infantry badges, combat action badges, combat medic badges, and 13 Purple Hearts. And I can't imagine having done it without all of you and the support of your families. So thank you for your great work, the hardships you endured, and your sacrifices. God bless you and your families, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Stramaia. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Colonel Stramaia and Command Sergeant Major Kirkpatrick will unfurl the colors of the 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. The esprit de corps of a unit is symbolized by its colors. The colors recall the glories of the past, stand guardian over its present destiny, and represent the continuity into the future. The colors lead the unit into battle. As the 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team has completed its overseas mission, the unfurling of the colors symbolize the unit's arrival at home station. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the benediction given by the 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team Chaplain, Major Damon Missouri, and remain standing for the singing of the Army Song and the departure of the official party.
Please bow your heads and join me in prayer. Lord, you have been our shepherd, so we were not in want, and you have made us to lie down in green pastures. And you had led us beside still waters and restored our souls. You lead us in the path of righteousness for your name's sake. Even though we had walked through the valley of the shadow of death, Lord, we will not fear evil, for you have been and will be with us, and your rod and your staff will comfort us. You had prepared a table before the presence of our enemies, and you anointed our heads with oil, and our cups ran over. Surely your goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our life, and we will dwell in your house forever. Lord, I pray that you will bless us, that you will keep us. May you make your face to shine upon us and be gracious. Lord, may you lift up your countenance upon each and every member here, including our families, and may you give us and our nation peace. Amen. Amen.
our song. We're the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who will fight to victory. We're the army and proudly our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. As the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Sound of the cadence loud and strong. Wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. You're here. Thank you. Appreciate you. As we bring this event to a close, we wish to thank all of our families and friends for the support they provide to our soldiers. To our soldiers for their service to the state of New Jersey and our great nation, we are eternally grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Welcome Home ceremony. At this time, please join me in applauding our returned soldiers. On behalf of the Brigade Commander, Colonel Stramalia, Jersey Blues, dismissed.